Hi and welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. And I love today's topic because when I got an understanding of how true selves and false selves and true love and false love works, I understood a key thing that so many spiritual teachers teach us, which is how we've all been looking for love in the wrong places. And there's so much I want to share with you on this, and it may just unfold a little in spirals, so I hope you can follow. And be prepared because we're going quantum today to a place where science and spirituality meet in this one, and I know a lot of you love that just as I do. So this is what I believe the human journey is. We start off forgetting who we are at a soul level. We forget our wholeness and our capacity to be the generator of all that we seek. And rather, we're young, we're little, we're dependent. And as we're parented, we either have our young, needy, age-appropriate, insecure parts nurtured, held, and led with love back to solidness and wholeness, or we don't. And when we become an adult, we all have a unique inner being composition, which is the programs within us that were created from our genetic makeup and our experiences, which have brought forth emotional attachments from within us, which have then generated belief systems about them. And this is really important to understand. Most of these emotional attachments and corresponding belief systems were in fact created pre-cognitive rational thought, before we could think rationally, and may have even occurred before we had any verbal communication skills. And in fact, when we go even deeper, speaking epigenetically, the truth is much of our programming was already established pre-birth all the way back to the point of conception, because we acquired many of our emotional components genetically from our parents. So what this means is if you had parents that were not operating from a healthy inner being in regard to self-love, self-approval, self-security, and self-survival, well then you took on fear and pain if these weren't modeled to you. And you were not able to grow these underdeveloped parts of yourself up. And it also means that you were born into and experienced a family where these fractures reinforce your painful programs because your parents have not healed from them yet. So now as an adult, you still have that underdeveloped child operating within you, feeling needy, dependent, and scared when a trigger gets hit. And where there is fear, there is emotional anxiety and depression, because these are inevitable symptoms of not being whole. And truly, it doesn't matter how intelligent you are, because our subconscious programs by the age of 30 to 35 years of age are responsible for 90 to 95% of the emotive choices, which is the energy and motion, meaning the entire driver of our life, of what and who we choose, where we decide to put our energy and our focus on life, meaning the decisions that shape our entire life. So our programming all comes down to, our choices all comes down to subconscious programming, meaning who you are and the experiences that you are having. It's your life trajectory normal, regardless of whether it's working for you or not. Now bear with me because I hope all of this is going to start making sense soon. I'm going to put it all together. I'm getting there. So here we are as an adult, not even knowing that we have as yet undeveloped, insecure parts within us that are trying to find power outside of ourselves and hand over power when trying to secure it. And then when something or someone bright and shiny turns up who we think can be a source of love, approval, survival and security to us, we start dinging with excitement on the inside. And so much of this is unconscious. We may not even realize that unconsciously we are feeling like our life raft has turned up to save us from the inner emptiness, the fear, the anxiety and depression that are symptoms of not being whole and solid on the inside. And then stage left enters, ta-da, the narcissist. And this is the platform where a narcissist shines, because they present as the solution to whatever it is, whatever your gap in development is. And let me share with you my previous gaps in inner development that were really more like, massive Grand Canyons. I really didn't like myself. I was my own worst critic. And no matter how well I did, I could never earn my own love and approval. I was never good enough. So when someone turned up supposedly loving me and getting me and seeing me and supporting me, I was like a woman in a desert finally getting a drink. However, of course, these people were not those wonderful commodities for real. They were people who were the match of the composition of my inner identity beliefs about myself. And it's kind of funny how life is always quantumly operating, so within, so without. So of course, these people posing as my biggest lovers and supporters in order to try to hook me to find relief and self-medicating for their own inner fractures, which of course was never my job, would inevitably have their facade crack, and what would show up in their behaviour as the reflection of my own disowning conditional love and abuse was that it all came right back at me, that I didn't love and approve of myself because they didn't. And this is in regard to loving and approving of myself. Don't even get me started on the fractures that I used to have regarding fears of security and survival. They were massive as well. So the people who I thought were my answer to getting love, approval, security and survival were false substitutes all along. That is what narcissists are, always. And we kick and we scream and we shout from the rooftops how terrible it was that they were not the source of love, approval, security and survival that we wanted them to be and that they professed to be. But I promise you, doing that is only going to make you sicker, as originally it did me. Until we make the shift and awaken to what this is really all about. What this is really all about is this. We can't get love, approval, security and survival. We can only become it. And every time we try to get it from an inner place of not being it, we can only ever get more of the experience of not getting it. As children, we couldn't be it, and we didn't grow up to become it unless we got it from our parents. As adults, we can become it, even if we didn't get it as children. But this time, it is no one else's job to give it to us. Our programming is done, it's completed. The only development we can do now is between us and ourselves as reprogramming. And when we go quantum, we understand there is no other to even do the job. Our entire life, or 90 to 95% of it, is unfolding exactly to the letter in relation to the composition of our inner identity beliefs and programs, which is the exact powerhouse that controls our breathing, heart beating, and the formation of complex amino acid chains in our cells. All unfolding in ways that our cognitive mind couldn't even begin to grasp and has nothing to do with. Just like our emotional responses, these processes are on autopilot, and the unfolding of our cells in quantum terms is not just regarding ourselves, but is also connected to the hologram, if you like, of our life experience, This is where we're going really quantum, because that is how powerful these inner programs are. Our subconscious is that big. It's like the God particle in our life. Quantum scientists go as far as to say that the universe is actually inside of you, being superimposed outside of you. Whoa, that's a whole nother topic, but it's really relevant for this one. So anyway, back to the point, everyone and everything is a reflection of the composition of your inner being, and this is what is meant by there is no other. There is no other to change, fix, or make happen. There is only yourself to change, fix, or make happen. And a better word for all of this is to, or a better way to say it, is to develop, love, and heal those unhealed parts of you regarding self-love, self-approval, self-security, and self-survival back to wholeness. Then the no other, which ironically means all others, are going to show up as a reflection of that, and the ones that aren't at that level of consciousness will no longer be a match for you. There will be no deal. They will no longer seem shiny and new to you. In stark contrast, you'll be turned off by them. And instead of choosing false substitutes, we start choosing people and situations from a healthy inner being rather than a fractured, insecure, and needy one. So really, the moral and the complete truth of this episode is the narcissist always was a false substitute. He or she is not the savior of your wounds. Narcissists are the bringer of the evidence of your wounds instead. So you and the development of you, between you and you, is your true solution and the true source. So that's it for this episode, and congratulations if you made it this far. So please come over and join in on the conversation on my blog, which is blog.melanietoniaevans.com. It's going to be a riveting conversation. And remember, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.